To enjoy this and other great episodes on Patreon, check out the link in the description and subscribe via the Black Kluge tier for full access to over 100 exclusive episodes. For those of you who would like some QF swag on Teepublic, t-shirts, magnets, mugs, what have you, also click on the link in the description.
What is the big deal? You are so uptight.
I don't want to be part of any Hollywood establishment. I don't want to meet Hollywood people. I don't want to have anything to do with them. My wife wants to go to these parties and stuff. I'm not interested.
Life. My best friend in the world, I met when I was 4, Mary Wigmore.
You mean to tell me she's not famous and she's your best friend in the world?
She's not famous.
Why would you waste your time with Mary Wigmore? Are you crazy?
Because she's the greatest human ever.
But you have famous friends, right?
I do. I have some famous friends, and I have mostly not famous friends.
Who's your most impressive famous friend that I would be excited about?
I can't believe you did that. First of all, you don't even know if you watched. You said you were going to do it. I'm a liar. I'm a compulsive liar.
Hour and a half. I have not taken a break. Spread the word about Sirius. We do not take commercial breaks that often. Let's go ahead to Randy.
I'll go out with her.
Okay.
Okay, good. I'll go out with her.
He's under duress here.
I would.
With a girl.
I would go out with her.
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
First of all, you wouldn't.
No, first of all, you're in a different situation. I got 3 girls at home. My daughter.
What does that mean?
I'm 53 years old. All my girls, when they were young, were in love with black people. I went to visit Ashley at summer camp, and she had a big poster of Usher over her bed.
Oh, yeah?
Usher.
And, it's a little startling. I go, what's this? And she goes, oh, my God, isn't he the hottest thing? And I went, oh, yes. Very much so.
Oh, he's very hot.
Very hot. What? I have to get rid of the wrap-up show because, and I'll tell you why. The purpose of the wrap-up show is not to sit there and criticize me. Whatever I'm doing is so that everyone here can make a living. He's doing both things simultaneously.
It may not be totally XY.
That's right.
You could be XXY.
I might be a tranny or a shim, a he-she, or something like that.
I don't believe it.
What?
I don't believe your results.
Why?
Because you spent all your life with Ralph and he's gay. How can a heterosexual man spend his life with a homosexual?
First of all, you're trying to be funny. Second of all...
I told you he has this theory that you're gay.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. Ralph is my friend. Ralph and I don't spend... When's the last time we got together socially? I can't even remember. Believe me, I know one thing. If it was a choice, I'd be gay. Because it'd be a lot easier.
Judith Regan has her own theory.
I think Howard collaborates better with women because he's gay. I actually think that Howard is a gay man trapped in a straight man's body. And Howard works with women, at least he worked with me, the way I've worked with most of my gay authors over the years.
Oh, I watched that horrible movie that won the Oscar.
I knew you would not love Parasite,
God.
and Parasite is one of the greatest movies ever made.
Ding dong 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 ding dong.
You didn't get to the good part. There was a setup.
I watched the whole movie.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm your host, Phil Moore, a.k.a. Jim Fix. With me for the ride is Mr. Jay Santi from Turnbuckle Tabloid. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing well, sir. I'm just worn out today. Today was one of those days that you just you had the work stuff, and then you had family things, and then just was worn down. But then it comes the call from you and says, "It's wake up time. This is my new cocaine." Quite.
Well, you're getting high on your own supply right now, and we're doing a dual session now. While James and I are recording, or Jay and I are recording, I think James is too formal, like of my limousine driver or something like that.
It's like your butler or your
butler, exactly. Yes, please, we will have tea, James, on the settee. At the same time, we're recording this session, which is about the ill treatment that Richard Christy got from Wig when he got wind that Richard had a cameo, but it was a speaking part in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because of his friendship with James Gunn at the time. He had to shit all over it. Sam and Bob are recording a session about Kumia and Kumia's meltdown very recently, and James and I were just talking a little bit about, geez, I keep fucking doing it. Jay and I were talking about how I didn't realize that Kumia's overt racism was as bad as it was back in the day, and that the issues with Bill, like Bill has had to school Bill has had to school, and Patrice have had to school Cumia on his views a long time ago.
Yeah, years ago, before Patrice passed away, there was animosity between Patrice and Anthony. It was Jimmy Norton who kept the peace because he really enjoyed Patrice on the show. He thought he was a great fit for the show. Whenever Jimmy wasn't there, Patrice would always fill in for him, and what helped to continue the flow of the show. But it come out later on that Patrice really couldn't stand him. He kept going on because of Jimmy, but also thought that there was probably some kind of hope that maybe Cumia would turn around on his thoughts. But nope, apparently the racism gets stronger by the day.
He doubled down, man, and he went on basically what, those of you guys who aren't familiar with it, basically there's allegations from way back when, and Opie will confirm this, but then Opie's a bit of a bullshit narcissist himself, but the truth is somewhere in the middle. But more recently, he got busted for like a really awful racist rant while gaming. Like a guy who's 60 years old gaming like Call of Duty online and yelling out the N-word and just being a really obnoxious drunk asshole, which is already not endearing to begin with. And then he was outed for that, and then he went to the Comedy Cellar and got escorted out by Club Soda Kenny of Dice Clay fan, who's been doing security for a long time. And for those of you wondering whether Club Soda Kenny is some kind of deviant or he's one of those Me Too type people, no. There's a New York Times article from 2006 that I found, and it basically he got his pension from the force, but he's a retired police officer, but he's full-time security even now. And if there was any kind of real scandal, he wouldn't be able to work.
Yeah, he was doing security for Amy Schumer. Yeah. But it turns out that he's also doing security for Bill Burr as well.
Right.
And Cumia just didn't seem to understand that whatever relationship or friendship, because Club Soda Kenny used to drive Opie. Yeah. He used to do the work with Opie. And Cumia didn't, understand that, listen, guy, this is my job. This is what has to be done.
Yeah.
And they don't want you here. I got to tell you to go. That's it.
Well, first of all, what people are not quite understand, like some people are not understanding that Cumia talked shit about Bill's wife, which in any world I've ever known, that gets you a fucking pop in the head from the husband. You're just going to stick up for your wife. But then he said about black women not being attractive. And then and he's also been a racist for so long that what do you think Bill's going to do? Right. What do you think? Whose side is Bill going to take? His wife and the mother of his children, or, racist asshole who can't really do anything for him anymore?
Yeah, I got to listen to his part of the situation just quickly. And I was listening to it going, yeah, you don't look good here, bro. Regardless of how you fish, you try to fish for some kind of
sympathy.
The sympathy, you don't sound good here, sir.
No, he doesn't. And so Sam and Chicago Bob are going to go through it, and I know they're going to do a great job. But it's something that you have to understand. Like, first of all, his right to impeach, his right to say whatever he believes has not been assailed. It's just that he doesn't understand there are going to be consequences when you say things that people don't like, or if they feel it's going to be detrimental to their career, you become anthrax and they stay away. He's not able to put that together because he's an insane narcissist.
That, and the funny stops being funny once you go across a certain line. And
yeah,
it's like the MTV Real World. When the real becomes real.
Yeah. So do you think this will actually end his career and like the compound media thing, or did it force him to consolidate and just kind of do his own thing and become, the Cumia show once again instead of compound media, and he has to get rid of people?
No, I think that he has his audience, and his audience is, the same individuals of the same ilk.
Yeah.
sentiment. That'll keep him afloat. It's just the same as the Carlson, Hannity's kind of people. They'll still be around, but there are individuals who are tied to them. As this Shuli show and such that are now questioning whether or not they should continue their relationship with him.
Well, he's on that poster you, me, and Len were making fun of. Cumia features prominently as one of them, and not for no reason, a bigger font than some of the other people on there as a draw. Meanwhile, he's not a stand-up comic.
No. So I think after that, there's going to be some kind of discussions on whether or not he'll be able to play along with the others, or like we've been mentioning, that SJ Titanic is about to hit the iceberg soon anyway. So
I think so. Yeah. And so what we're basically saying, the other thing is we don't know that Bill is going to ever talk about it, or his wife, or somebody else. Loads of other people are going to talk about it. And Opie has given his thoughts, but it's not worth listening to. And it's ironic, though, that he and Cumia both they both have their own insane, like, warped view of how they are perceived. They don't quite get it, where they stand in the show business ladder, and it ain't like 2002 anymore.
Yeah, there's comedy. You and I being big comedy fans, stand-up comedy fans, it's like it's a stark contrast for what it was 20 years ago, over 20 years, and some may say it's unfortunate. Some may say it's a change that needs to happen, and some may say it's an adjustment that needs to be made.
That's right.
But individuals that are in the business right now, who's been doing it for so long, that time is gone, man. And it's unfortunate for those who do it who don't seem to get it yet.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, and even I have to come to terms with certain lexicon, certain words that I use that have to be they're just been verboten for a long time. Yeah. Most notably the F word. You just can't use it and expect that any good's going to come from it. But and whether you like it or not is not the issue. It's whether you understand that that's the way things are. So whether you prefer it, whether you think it's awful, it doesn't really matter, because you have to deal with it on a human level. And also, if you're doing comedy, you also have to figure out, look, that's the way the game's played now. And if I want to be in this game, I got to play by the rules.
Exactly.
So anyway, guys, we're going to go right into the Guardians of the Galaxy thing. It goes back to 2017, May 8th. And we're going to start off with Wiggy shitting on his cameo.
Did you go see? Aren't you in Guardians of the Galaxy too? Someone told me.
Yeah. What do you play?
It's something stupid.
No, I'm a Ravager. It's awesome.
Bullshit.
No, it's awesome. I have a line too.
Yeah. What's your line?
Down there.
Did you go see it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
And can you be seen, or are you like in costume?
No, I mean it's quick, but I can be seen.
And you can
your
tell face?
Yeah. I mean, I have makeup on.
Why did they let you do that? Like,
I've been friends with James, the director, for a long time.
All right. Go back there and make a phony phone call.
Does he know you wear shit pants?
That was not even 30 seconds.
No, because it's just you hear the and this isn't even like, oh, I'm playing a character, Howard. No. This is the despise. This is really the disgust of Wiggy. It's just exuding all over him.
He had to demean him by saying, like, fetch me. It's no different than he said, fetch me a cup of tea, wench. You're my bitch, was him. That's what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
Don't try to think you're more than you are. So it's going to get worse, guys. Trust me. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Oh, he knows.
Yeah. He took me because of my shit pants. I even shit on set. How long did you have to hang around the set for one line like that?
Like for the day.
For the day.
Yeah, but it was so cool. I got to sit.
Awesome.
I sat next to Kurt Russell in the makeup trailer.
Yeah. I shit my pants. Yeah.
The movie's hilarious.
Yeah, I want to see. I like the first one.
Yeah,
I
love
Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't wait to see the new one.
You didn't see the new one, did you? Did you go to the premiere and everything because you were in the movie?
No, not the premiere. I just went. Me and my wife and JD went to.
I know, like, that's a big deal to, like, be in. Like, the director did you solid and threw you in for a real quick moment, but That's a waste of a fucking day, honestly. Let's.
How many examples can we get from Wiggy about wasting a day?
Oh yeah.
Where to begin on the ladder?
The Larry Sanders Show.
Oh my!
Recently cashed a 99-cent check from the fucking Larry Sanders Show.
Anytime that he's doing a talk show appearance, many of his moments at AGT, that's just those are wasted days behind each other.
Well, this is the thing. You and I are pop culture geeks, and of different aspects of the business. I wouldn't be like any kind of massive fanboy to do something like what Richard has done, but I would definitely do it because who wouldn't want to see yourself on a massive screen? I guess it's a bit of narcissism, but it's also just pop culture. Suddenly you're part of the zeitgeist, even if only incrementally, attaching yourself to something that will be bigger. It'll just get bigger over the years, unless there's some kind of controversy, which there was with James Gunn. But Guardians 3 is due to come out regardless of any controversy. That's how big it is.
Right, and he's now taking over the DC universe, and it just motivated him to even make changes and continue his success in Hollywood throughout. And like you mentioned, who wouldn't want to take such a waste of a day? Shit me, I already kind of resemble Ben Grimm anyway, so I might as well just like take a role somewhere. Like I would
think about it as well in terms of this, okay? Cons, comic cons, horror cons, whatever. When Richard Christy's done, if he needs to, he now has a little frame of himself pointing down towards the camera, like from below, saying, like, she's doing the down there thing. If you guys look, it's on YouTube. It's like a 6-second clip. And when Michael Rooker walks by and salutes him or whatever, and that's it. He could make a print of that and sign it for cons the rest of his life and make some extra money on it if he wants to.
Of course. And we'll go, a little bit more to when you hear his aspect of it, but he's not letting this affect him at all. He's a pig in shit here. It's great. That's the feeling you want, regardless of how much, as we say on this side, how much of a hater Wiggy's being about this. Richard he's loving every moment of it.
But do you think after it was all said and done that Richard went off somewhere and discussed, or people discussed with him, like, or his wife even called him and said, like, what the fuck was that about?
Yes and no, and because by this time we already know how he is. Hey, you do a contrast and comparison. I got the Stern nameplate from Iron Man or the Avengers and such, and it's like I was in the movie. Yeah, it's like fuck off, and you it's genuine when he's saying it.
And also the difference being, Richard was actually in the movie. Howard's character, like his name was used, like his surname. That was it.
And I got an Iron Man replica mask. It's like
that's the best. The part 1's going to be coming out soon, guys.
You're a real actor. That
But
whole
what else
bullshit
is
thing.
he gonna do?
I don't know.
Look for some more shit to send in?
Right. Yeah, it's true. What would his day be? What did he miss out
So
on?
he can go to another bar.
It was an awesome day for me.
Did you talk to Kurt Russell?
No, I didn't want to bother him.
I sat in Kurt Russell's shit. He had shit in the makeup chair. It was awesome.
That wrestler Batista, he is so fucking hilarious in the new Guardians of the Galaxy.
I am so sick of wrestlers becoming.
And welcome to my world, ladies and gentlemen. Yay.
He might be the funniest part of the Guardians. He gets the total, kind of goofball lines and gets huge pops. In that second film especially, he was one of the, if you ask moviegoers, because they do exit surveys for films these days when they're trying to figure out how the film wants, what kind of reaction they want to, for final release. And I'm certain all of those scenes with him and what's her name, Mantis, and that probably got the biggest pops of the film.
Please, the Christmas special was hilarious. I I was so surprised at how funny he really. I mean, I watched the series, the series of Guardians movies, but as a throwaway kind of show that they did for the Christmas special on Disney Plus, I thought he and Mantis stole the whole thing. I thought it was hilarious.
So would you be down? Like, eventually we're going to do a series of him shitting on The Rock, or a show where he shits on The Rock over the years after having him in the studio.
Oh, is it? It's the opposite of rescinding.
It's the exact direct opposite of rescinding, and it would be a proper rescinding if The Rock would ever come on. But you don't think that's ever going to happen, do you?
No. Well, come back on the show.
Yeah.
He's such in dire straits right now for attention. I wouldn't be surprised if it did occur that. I'm talking about Wiggy. I'm not talking about Rock. I'm not talking about Wiggy. I wouldn't be surprised, but that would be under Dwayne Johnson's call, because he'll probably be he's most likely the type of like, you were talking shit about me? Fuck him. I'm not going back on there.
I would like to think so, but we've been proven wrong by so many people. I mean, like Springsteen actually, made it in. Like, hell did freeze over and he went in, but who knows what went on, what wrangling went on in order for that to happen to begin with. So either way, we're going to continue with this one, guys.
Actors, it's fucking insulting to the acting.
Could they stay in wrestling?
No, but wrestling kind of is acting, so they're good at it.
You know what? No, it isn't.
But they've got jobs. They're actors who can't get jobs.
Yeah, they're worse than soap opera actors. Like, they're like, hey, you told me you thought I was less than a man. That's right. You're less than a man. Yeah, well, I'll see you in the ring.
I don't think he's actually watched one wrestling promo in his entire life, or he did vaguely one time, and he's basing it on him trying to freestyle here is cringe. It's worse than the Ken Patera promo.
Now I'm getting offended, and I'm not even a wrestler. No, but yeah. He always spoke about whenever Vince McMahon would come in or Stephanie would come in that he would watch wrestling with his grandpa, and so. But that's Jesus. That's many more. Maybe Gorgeous George around that time and stuff like that. But he doesn't understand, like, for the most part, especially when it comes to WWE. They have, acting coaches. They have individuals who teach them their promos, who walk them through their promos. They have scripts. They have to memorize lines. It's not like it used to be where it was a shoot or you were cut a promo from the top of your head. Yeah. Now these days they're having them, hit certain marks on their scripts and on their lines to ensure that they're getting something across to the audience. It's sad that even to this day, and I listen to a lot of old Stern stuff, but it's sad that he tries to sell negativity as comedy. Mm-hmm. It's not that he's not genuine with his negativity, because he is. That's him. That he's actually is, but he's not genuine with the reasons behind it. Right, and there's no real entertainment anymore behind it, because after a while you start to sit there and realize, wow, you really are a miserable fucking prick. Like, wow, you can't be happy for Richard or even a wrestler who actually broke out of that genre to make it big. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's the one thing where if you get all that sort of that reverse rescinding that he gives The Rock, but he would in a minute take it right up the ass and say, the transition you made from acting, from wrestling to acting was mind blowing. That's the word he'd use. Meanwhile, I mean, Hogan was getting acting gigs until since whenever. Now he wasn't he wasn't particularly gifted as a thespian, but The Rock actually has a presence on screen. That's and if you think about it, when you mentioned about how it's scripted now in terms of wrestling, that's just to make an easier, faster product. Not an easier, but it makes it easier to cut when the person doesn't have to keep trying these fucking promos. Cut again, action, get your marks, and then it's also less stressful for the
the wrestler because they've got a production team. In the old days, you're right. Those guys had to cut however many promos in so much time. And some of them were naturals. Jake the Snake, you could just turn on the fucking mic and let him flow.
Yeah. Hogan wasn't Olivier, but you know, so, no. But on my podcast, Turnbuckle Tabloid, guys, make sure you check it out. Cheap plug. I discussed the last of the wrestling like megastars, who's the last of the megastars, and who has broken out of wrestling to become, you know, Hollywood's darling or whatever. And Batista has been one that the audience has grown a fondness to. John Cena has, you hear him everywhere. He's on commercials for cash or pistachios. His voiceover is everywhere.
Before then, Jesse the Body Ventura, that turn in Predator, he stole the show.
Yeah, exactly. Jesse, oh, you say there. I loved him in Running Man when he was the announcer.
Captain, what was the name? Captain Fabulous or some cap? I can't remember his name. But you're right. He was in that too. And then he got gigs with like Stallone and Demolition Man, which is just a bit part. Probably there was more to it. But the whole point is and it was funny. He got his SAG, like he got his Screen Actors insurance. So he told Vince, "Fuck you. I don't need your insurance. I don't need a union. Fuck them."
Exactly. Then we could always go past. Even Sergeant Slaughter got gigs with G.I. Joe with a cartoon series. It transcended. King Kong Bundy was popping up on TV shows like Married with Children and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You often have to think about how Wiggy just can't seem to understand that you are just isolated to that world, and that world is behind the microphone because you can't do anything. Although you look like a mutant in the X-Men, you're not gonna leave that world. No.
Even though at home you look like Professor Xavier because you're always sitting in a chair and you're bald.
You're bald.
Well, I was going to say, imagine like I have a copy of it. Him on SNL with Norm Macdonald. It's always I'm playing me. Now, sometimes with the wrestlers that happened too. I remember Bret Hart did a fucking hilarious sketch on Mad TV playing himself where he comes in because the kid at home is being like shit on by his parents. Will Sasso is playing the dad, of course. Right. And he's just sort of getting like treated like shit. And he goes, I'm not taking your stuff no more. And then Bret Hart goes, I want to introduce my friend, Bret the Hitman Hart. And then he comes in, how's it going? Him and the dad square off. It's a funny sketch, but there was nothing to it. And yet because they have this also built-in a comfort level in front of the camera because they film so much wrestling for TV purposes, and the TV productions are like movie productions or even pay-per-views, that it's not that big of a leap for them to go into mega $1 million projects and also still be believable or still have some kind of charisma, which is necessary if you want to sell tickets.
Kevin Nash, who is another one who's made tons of money in not only wrestling but in movies as well. Mm-hmm. He spoke about it on his podcast where he said, I was already prepared for this because I was doing screenings and readings and had to do one take live. Get it out the way, get it done. Whereas in movies, they could do retake, and I could get it clean cut and done because I was always prepared to do it. And that's what it is. When you're in front of 20,000 people with a live mic, and they will bash you if you stumble on a word, trip over a line. The crowd will let you know it. These guys, Stone Cold Steve Austin, same thing. Longest Yard, Goldberg himself as well. Wiggy doesn't understand that. Yes, you're in that same world. You're in the same world where you're live. You got to make sure that your material and what you're saying is almost flawless because you'll get hit back. But except your audience is not going to hit you instantly. You're going to get a phone call and say, "Hey, Howard, you said something stupid earlier." No, this is instantaneous. So these guys are already prepared for what was coming in Hollywood.
Right. They don't have the stress and their preparedness. If they're professional in that world, the step over into acting professionally isn't that big of a jump. It's not that big of a leap. I'm also thinking of like Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper, Did They Live? He also he was in an episode of Highlander that was actually pretty good. It was the TV show. The really talented ones are, at the end of the day, they're normal guys. They're normal guys that are trying to make it big and make a life and a living for themselves. And when you think about it, they are acting as the characters they play in the wrestling world. So it's not that difficult. It's the same with the comedians. Comedians have to act a fool on stage to get laughs. Exactly. That's why so many good comics can be good actors, but it's almost impossible for a good actor to become a good comedian.
And before we continue, did you just hear the ridiculous blobbing? So, why don't they just stay in their own world?
That's strictly step and fetch it for Massa Howard.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Yes, you will. And you insulted my wife. I mean, it's this loud bullshit. And then all of a sudden, and then everyone goes, oh, John Cena's in the new Amy Schumer movie. He's wonderful. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, but you used to get hit by, they're still throwing chairs at you.
Yeah. Unless you become The Rock and then he gets out of the being hit by a chair business.
Right. But that's what you used to do.
The best was Ultimate.
Now, Rock's got that big fucking stupid ass tattoo on his titties and his back. It's like one big.
That's tribal. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, that's Polynesian. He's from. He's from. Is it Fiji?
No, Samoan.
Samoan. Okay.
Samoan.
But it's tribe. It's actually cultural. Like when you're shitting on it, this is no different than him making fun of Charlize Theron, the African click language.
That and for his people, his chosen people, it's almost like wearing a yarmulke. For those, there's some who do wear it and some who don't, and there's some in Samoan culture who have the tribal pieces.
Yes, same with Maori. It's just a part of it. It's such a identifiable part of the culture that it doesn't behoove you to be fucking on that.
Yeah, he doesn't understand that it's also in that culture, it's a rite of passage. Guys, it's a whole thing. But if when you get the tattoos, it's not done with a machine. It's not like the tattoo. No, it's a hammer process. It's a long thing. Any case, but he doesn't understand it because once again he feigns ignorance because he's a fucking idiot.
He is an idiot, absolutely.
Giant. What was it again? Hawaiian symbol or something?
I think it looks cool.
Get the fuck out of here! You're fucking up my whole show. Go be in a new movie. This guy. Oh, yeah, it's cool. I'm in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Who, by the way, isn't listening to this? I'm asking you guys, the listeners. When you heard this the first time, if you heard it the first time, this may be your first time. I have no idea. But when you heard it the first time, who didn't immediately suss out that this was born out of nothing but pure jealousy?
Oh, please. When I first heard this, when I first heard that Richard was going to be in the Guardians movie, I had already said, oh, Wiki's going to shit on this. I knew. There's no way that Richard does not walk out of that studio without fucking just disdain hanging from the back of him. It's just, like I said, I look at my paraphernalia that I got from the Iron Man movie. This is what it was given to me. I'm in the movie. Fuck off. This was coming down the line quickly.
Well, that's the only thing I can figure out. It's not just. Well, I mean, there's also the part of like why I don't want to give this kid credit for trying to get ahead of the business and get ahead of me and get out from underneath this fucking shit pile I've created where they all have to live in. There's a section of that, but I think in this case, it's mostly he's a part of this massive blockbuster goddamn industry suddenly. He's tied into it now, and I can't get in it. I can't get in.
That's a big thing for it because, he's already he's done made enemies, if not directly but indirectly, to where people was like, I don't want to have anything to do with this guy. Whereas Richard is such a lovable part of the show that people say I still listen to the show, but it's not because of the wig. It's because of the other parts that are around him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Richard has built that bridge with a lot of these people that they'll say, hey, you know, if you want to be a part of this, you know, hey, I'll put you on.
Yep.
Wiggy can't stand that he's never made that transition because he's so socially awkward that he can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the situation may have been like in terms of other synergy that Richard might have with other, let's say, movie people or what have you. And in fact, when I heard this the first time, saying he was friends with James Gunn, I don't recall the context. How did James Gunn, was it via I think it was via the show somehow, or he met him at a con or something.
He also Richard had played around with doing certain. He was in the Harold and Kumar movie. He had an appearance there. He's done a lot of like horror flicks, but he's also made a lot of connections with people in the industry because of that, because of the horror movies with special effects, knowing people who have done makeup and such. So I believe that's where it was connected with, where someone he knew in the business who does special effects was part of that whole MCU universe. So that's how he got connected in.
No, you're not.
Wrestler.
It's insulting what they had you do.
It's wonderful.
Oh, it's not.
Get
I
some
loved
fucking
it.
pride, man.
I loved it.
So give me a part. Not. Hey, that's like what they have. What's his name do from Marvel? Stan Lee.
Oh, he's in it too.
He shows up in one scene every time, and he's like a bus. He's sitting there like Ralph Cramden in a bus driver's hat. It's like, you know what? He's fucking Stan Lee. He came up with all these characters.
What a fucking delusional asshole. Anybody who knew anything about comics knows that Stan Lee doesn't have the rights to any of that shit.
This is where the pop culture geek in me just like I want to strangle him because
it's excruciating.
He doesn't he I don't know whether he does this purposely or he's just really that ignorant.
He is
fucking stupid. First of all, once that was the whole premise of the character of Stan Lee in the Marvel universe, is that he would pop up. It transitioned from what he would do it in the comics as well. They would sometimes write or draw an image of Stan Lee in a comic just as, you know, a throwaway that he would do.
Joke.
Right. And it became part of the MCU thing. And it's to be as addressed as, we know it's Stan Lee, but I hate him. It's almost like what we talked about is like how he says that he loves music or he loves comedy, and he's oblivious to each one of them. It annoys me.
In addition to this, he said it as if Richard has the pull to say, give me a fucking real part. Like who's a guy like a drummer doing sound effects for a fucking morning zookeeper on a podcast has any kind of clout to anybody to say where they can go? Like, why didn't he go, what do you have me seated next to this fucking scrub Kurt Russell? I want my own trailer.
Yeah, why don't you just have me play Star-Lord? I mean, this is just ridiculous. I could be Star-Lord. Why not we start from there? Fucking ass.
So out of touch, out of brains.
But this is what he would do. That's why, Mr. Yeah. I was being considered to be cast as the Scarecrow for the Batman movie. Yeah, okay.
I think I threw that in one of the intros. He goes, "Who was promoting this?" And me, I was the only one promoting it. So they press released it based on nothing but his say so, and they said, you know, I was tapped to do this, I was tapped to do that. Like, no, so you can't even believe, you know, every time he says he was. There's only a few documented cases where a film was in production and then went to shit, and one of them was that film Jane he had lined up to do with Melanie Griffith. Mm-hmm. That eventually he got some kind of settlement because the financing fell through on the picture. Go figure. And he got something like maybe $50,000 out of, you know, pay or play kind of thing, because he had signed the contract to be in this film. But what pisses me off is that it never went through. I would have loved to see him acting like as anybody.
Yeah, not play Howard in a fucking Private Parts movie in which he couldn't even do that properly.
I want to ask you a question seriously about Private Parts. I know he talks about the difficulty he had in, memorizing lines because, it requires reading and it requires memorization, both of which he can't do. He needs a script in front of him constantly. He was a wooden Indian. He, like you said, he was right inside the front door of Cheers.
Yeah, exactly.
right inside the front door of Cheers. If you had Betty Thomas full of truth serum, how bad do you think he was generally? Like take.
Oh, he was probably the worst that they had. Probably worse than Steven Seagal. Probably on par, because if you hear the horror stories that directors have with Steven Seagal, he just comes in and shoots from the hip. I would imagine that since he has no inkling of paying attention and staying focused on something, that he would probably just improvise many of the lines, and it was frustrating for Betty Thomas.
Yeah, and I believe that he did say, I'm just going to improv this whole thing. She's like, no, we're on the fucking clock. You're not improvising shit. Number one, you can't do that. Number two, we can't afford it because, there's no budget. The other thing is, I think the key is in the edits. If you look in Private Parts, every time there's a cutaway to Paul Giamatti or what's her name, Mary McCormick, it's not just for coverage. It's really because they had to piece his thing together from so many small parts, instead of getting a master take. Very, very rarely does he have huge, long, one camera shots of him doing something. It was literally because he could only handle one sentence at a time.
And when you remember watching it again, you realize how short really the movie is. It's barely over like the 60-minute mark. It's almost like watching a National Geographic documentary or something, because they could. I would have loved to have seen the uncut version of it, and how he probably destroyed every other scene that they wanted to get into, and they just probably said, you know what, scrap that shit. This is not going to work.
There's a work print edition somewhere out there that has a bunch of extra stuff that's just like it's coded in VHS. It's really shitty quality, whatever, like some certain parts of it that are extra. And they added it. Basically, it's a supercut using the stuff that was deleted out. And I had it at one point and got rid of it because it was just taking up space on my, at that time, 1 gigabyte hard drive, which was, not or 1 terabyte hard drive, which was like, that was a massive amount of space, and I couldn't afford to just put anything in there. So that was one of the first things to go, but it does exist out there. If anybody has a line on where to get a copy of that, I'd be fascinated to watch it. Yeah.
Stop insulting. It looks like a fucking senile old man when he does that shit. It's fucking ridiculous. I've had it with everything. And these directors who I'm going to give you a little part and have you keep you around all day. And then you see the cut of the movie and they cut you out.
I wanted to be around.
Yeah, I know you do. I know, because you're retarded. Get out of here.
Yeah, he was weren't you a zombie on The Walking Dead?
Yeah, that was great. I sat in some shit on my way over to the set.
Also, Richard's a fan of horror and comics, and sci-fi, like all this stuff. He loves that Fangoria shit.
Yeah. And once again, I think that's where his connection is because of a lot of the makeup artists, the special effects people who met him through cons or know him through the show, or he's known for through his band and all that such. So he's Forrest Gump. He's walked life and met people. Like he knows a thing or two.
Well, they probably just said he seems really likable and he got along with people, and that's key in the business. I mean, if you can make everybody in the business feel like you're the most important person they're talking to that moment, your career, I won't say it's set in stone, but you're good as gold. I mean, you really do have, there's so many assholes in Hollywood. I imagine it's rare when people meet down to earth people, and word of mouth travels. Good word of mouth too.
I often hope that I'm thought about that in the same vein when it comes to the wrestling podcast, because I've met so many wrestlers through my years of doing the show, and the one aspect about it is that I don't treat them as though that I don't relate, have this relationship with them like that they're these, these stars. I look at them as regular people, and I don't hound them. I don't bother them. we see each other. It's a a common ground of pleasantries. It's never this whole big verbose boasting like Wiggy does when he talks about, or when he goes on these trips with people. It's bragging. And this is why he's always awkward. Whereas with Richard is just like, hey, look who I met. I met James Gunn, and he said I'm real cool. I could go in a movie with him. He takes it so cavalier and nonchalant.
Yeah. And it's just for the express purpose of shitting on one of your guys. I've never understood it. I mean, it's super transparent. I guess that's the part I don't understand. How he doesn't hear how awful he sounds. He's going to hear it from fans during the time, and he'll address it as there's a wrap up show segment as well. And then he addresses how much criticism he got. This was probably still at a time when he was seeing some of that feedback.
Right.
Yeah, and it got back to him, and it was clearly like consensus. I remember at the time the consensus was, "Why are you being such a dick?"
Because now he had a new punching buddy. He done sat there and punched out Gary for too long. He needed a new one. But this one was more personal because this is, I wish that was me, without saying.
It did look like
I look like shit.
Yeah, I had shit all over my pants. It looked like.
I love these directors. They're making this $1 billion movie, and it's like a little private goof. They stick Richard in.
It wasn't a goof. I wanted to do it.
Of course, it's a move, a goof. He's goofing on you, dude.
No.
Yeah. Wake up.
There are people that are being paid millions of dollars.
Yeah.
To stand there, and then there's you.
Get a real role like Benji did in Sharknado. And he gets eaten by a shark. No, it's just like a lot of directors.
Okay, and I'm not going to shit on the Benji role in Sharknado thing because, well, maybe I will just a little bit. But in any case, but once again, and even Benji's thing had become one of these Stan Lee kind of things as well, because it became, when will Benji die in a Sharknado movie or something like that. Right. But we're going to compare money's money, but a low budget C-style horror TV movie on sci-fi as opposed to a multi-billion-dollar Hollywood flick that Richard got on, and he's calling it, as they say in wrestling, a rib. He's saying it's a joke. That's a lot of money for a joke. That's ridiculous.
That's way too much expense and time devoted to when and those Marvel films. I mean, like, as much money as they make, we know how cheap they are with the salaries. So it stands to reason they're probably also cheap, and directors, like, they get these TV directors that they know they don't have to pay that much money. Hence, like, there very few times, like, they got Sam Raimi to direct the last Doctor Strange. I think it was because they were, I'm not sure exactly why, but he wouldn't have been cheap, Sam Raimi, at this point in his career.
Yeah, and the like you said, when it comes to salary, what they do for the actors is they give them the points, and that's where they come off with the money.
They can, but at Marvel, I don't think a lot of them were getting anything except their salary. I don't believe. I mean, they're going to get, if stuff is on eventually goes to regular TV, let's say, like, like Superman, the movie, the original, the Dick Donner films. I'm sure Christopher Reeve, for every TV showing, got money in residuals somehow, but not massively. Like, he wasn't the money that Robert Downey Jr. made being Iron Man kind of thing.
Robert went in at $500,000 for the initial, and he ended up taking the points later on, which became the model for everybody else who started doing the rest of them, the Captain Americas, the Avengers and all that. Everybody else started taking the points, and that's where they end up getting their salaries at. But for I wonder how much points Howard got for Private Parts. I wonder.
0.0. Well, the thing is also, like, if a film doesn't perform, those points can sometimes add up to nothing because they have to recoup all their costs first before you see anything. Right. And when they foreign rights, this, that, and the other thing, when it comes to, well, as I was saying before, I was thinking along the lines of, not only does Marvel cheap out with talent necessarily, they also cheap out with production costs. Like if they can save a nickel with someone who can do it in 3 takes as opposed to someone who needs 15 takes, who do you think they're going for?
Right. Plus, they always let the actors recoup with merchandising and all that stuff, image and likeness and stuff like that. They always recoup there.
And they know that they're also at cons. They're going to make some money off of it too. So it you know. You can get it from every angle at some point. It's when, but it's funny. We're going through the movie memorabilia thing with the Stern. Like he wanted that Iron Man mask so bad. Like he wanted something legit from the film so bad, and not understanding these props. Number one, they may get reused again. That's why they hold on to them and warehouse them. But second of all, they're not stupid. They're not giving away that shit. Who do you think's going to get Thor's hammer? Like someone's going to bid on that for fucking, I don't know, $1 million eventually.
Right. But the real one, and I just started thinking about it, was how he was so determined to get in that Jon Favreau house and that whole thing that he backed Cowboys and Aliens. Out of all movies that you were going to back Favreau in, Cowboys and Aliens was not the one.
Do you agree? It looked like the trailer. It looked like shit just from the trailer alone.
Oh, definitely.
So do you think it got away from Favreau? Do you think he just didn't understand what he was doing? Or do you think there was a train rolling downhill and he couldn't do anything about it?
Yeah, there was no backing out. He had to finish it and get it done and put it out there. He had to see whatever. Yeah,
that thing I think it cost 160 million and made 160 million. And then people go, oh, it broke even. No, it lost 50%, maybe more. With the amount of money they tried to plug in that thing, like the promotion thing for that film was extraordinary. It wasn't Days of Thunder big, but it was pretty big. So they probably lost probably 100 million at least on that movie.
Yeah, I think the only way he got back on it was because he tied himself with the Marvel movies.
Yeah, but that was post Iron Man 2, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's what I'm saying. That because everything else had been done with him was independent, in like other movies like Chef and such like that.
Chef was later, and Chef, I was actually shocked. Chef cost something like 11 or 10 million and made 40. I still say one of my favorite movies. It really is a good movie. He had something personal to say, and he did it right, and he had all the right character actors there as well. I was actually not annoyed by John Leguizamo for one moment.
Hey, leave my man Johnny Legs alone. I like.
He's actually not bad for an interview, but sometimes in movies I kind of get annoyed with him. I don't know what it is.
Listen to the show and stuff. We'll call one of my Forrest Gump type guys like Richard. And like stick him in for a second.
Yeah.
Because they have some sort of, role on the show and they stick him in. It's like their private goof.
You can't be happy for me, can you?
It's not I'm glad you're happy. Of course I could be. I could be happy for you having a baby. I could be happy for you, stopping.
No, you can't.
Why? That means you have some kind of emotion that connects with others. Right? That doesn't work that way with you, Wiggy.
They say that success is the best revenge. It's never more so than with Howard.
I also take with him, I always go with him. I get it. Yes, because of you, these guys would never get the opportunity, and this is what it is, blah, blah, because of the show.
Right.
Me, in this instance, James Gunn put him in the movie not because of Howard, because he didn't have that. He that reach that he used to have isn't there anymore.
No.
It seemed as though he put him in because he actually likes Richard and wanted him to have this.
He's delusional. He's just completely delusional by 2017. And the other thing is he's probably not even getting these fucking screeners for 5 years, 6 years, ever since Super 8 got leaked.
Blame on Ralphie for that one.
Oh yes, I wonder how many Blumpkins Ralph got for that screener. That was not even that good of a film. What a thing to wait. What a thing to blow your load on.
Of all those movies, that's another bomb that he tried to back as well.
Yeah, and just add it to To Leslie and every other what was that thing? Oh yeah, one time they got advertising. Clearly it was a paid plug. Ninja Assassin. Robin plus said it was a fantastic movie. She's the same woman who said Last Action Hero was a good film.
Thank you, sis. Bieber, the both of them.
Yeah.
Drinking. I can be happy for you for writing a great bit, but what? So you pop up for a half a second in Guardians of the Galaxy because why? Because the director's like goofing on you, dude.
Oh, I think it's awesome.
All right, get out and be unhappy like me.
Sorry.
All right, go ahead, be happy.
Okay.
Happy like a mongoloid. There you go. Guy's a fabulous drummer, one of the best metal drummers in the world. Got this guy sticking him in the movie for 2 seconds.
Dandy.
Now he's using the drumming as some kind of like like all of a sudden. First of all, he in the one breath he's denigrating Richard for just being famous for shitting his pants and doing phony phone calls, and on the other hand he's saying, well, no, he should respect Richard because he's a great drummer. What the fuck is it?
He only says that because after Dave Grohl praised Richard, that he actually gave him some kind of a status for it, and he mentions that. But even still, it's like, what does it even matter of what Richard shows prominence in something? You know, he's like I said, he's making his laissez-faire way through the world and finding his way into these movies or these moments. And Jesus, all right, you know what? You're right. I don't need you to be happy for me. I don't need you to pat me on the back for it. But why shit on it? It's because you're jealous of the fact that you can't get it.
I want to bring up the clip. I know I have it somewhere, but I'll have to find it. I know for sure I have it. I thought I'd already isolated it. But Bowie told a story about Mike Piazza, the catcher for the Mets way back when. I think he also played for LA, but I could be off on that. How he went on he met him one time, and he had all Piazza could talk about was Richard Christy because he was a huge death metal fan.
Exactly. I remember that.
And I imagine it was one of those things where, because like Bowie loves music, but only of a certain type. They don't have the understanding that someone could possibly have a following outside of their little circle of influence, their little fucking 6-foot circle of influence. And so when something like that happens and people go, wow, I really like this part of that person's whatever, what they do. First of all, they don't want to address it because that denigrates, for some stupid reason, instead of taking pride in it, they go, well, yeah, but he's on our show. He's famous for our show. He's not famous for that shit. But at the same time, you should be more than happy that there's recognition outside of the world of Stern.
If Wiggy really wanted to be in a Marvel movie, he could have taken the Michael Keaton role in Spider-Man and been Vulture, but he'd have been the old 90s version of Vulture. He'd have had to take the wig off, show his bald head.
He could be MODOK. Guys, you have to get with the comics to get with this one. And just look at it and spell it MODOK. If I unless I get it wrong, and check it out when John Buscema was drawing him in Hulk. It's exactly what Howard should look like, because it's just like one guy that's glued to his chair and just walking around this big fucking massive shit. And anyway, and directing people, like ordering people around. It's pretty much the same character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to Ryan Seacrest. What? Hello? Yes, Todd. Hi, Todd from Texas, everybody.
Hey, Howard.
Hey.
You sound like an extra whiny bitch this morning.
Fuck off, asshole. What do you know about? Fuck you.
Everybody would want to be in a movie, man. Richard's
no, they don't.
Fun.
He's having fun. Yeah. It's insulting.
It's insulting. How is it insulting?
Because he's got a career. Let me ask you something. What do you do for a living?
So we wonder where Bowie got it from.
I wish I had the bell sound every time they do it. I need to put that sound effect on every time. It's, what do you do for a living?
Hey, what's your Howard Finkel impression like?
I can get it. It's got to come through me. Give me a second. It'll come.
All right. Fair enough.
I work in an oil field.
Right. You work in an oil field, and you have an important job. You have to find oil so the country can run, right?
I'm part of the process.
Right.
Yeah.
So what if your boss said, like as a goof, said, hey, let's get that guy, and let's get him to work a piece of machinery for a second. That's it, way over his head,
that he doesn't really do, and we'll just kind of sit there and laugh as he pretends to. You know what I'm saying?
King of all shitty analogies strikes again. Nothing was above Richard's head, and they probably got that in one take.
That's the sad sound effect, the horn, the wah 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 wah. No, that doesn't. It's not the same thing. Oh, you're gonna compare him in a movie to working in an oil refinery where 9 out of 10 times, if you don't know what you're doing, you can get killed.
Well, yeah, you're certainly not going to be working around with other people. You're using very dangerous machinery when it's not used by capable hands.
Stupid. Oh my God, I hate him for that.
I'm sorry to do this to you. What's your cool down method after you listen to this fucking dreck? Like, and we dissect this thing. It's like there has to be. Do you watch, Animal Crackers like afterwards? Do you?
A lot of alcoholic beverages and heroin. It's just, I get arty mode. No, it's funny because the older stuff doesn't bother me as much. Like the 90s stuff,
yeah,
the Jackie era, the Billy era, even early Artie, it doesn't bother me as much. So that's what it's now. And this is like the old crotchety man, and it's explosive during this time that it's occurring. That this is the reason why I left the show. Like when it became that I really piss on everything. That's when I'm like, you know what? Why do I need this negativity in my life? It's like cutting off toxic friends. I don't need to be around them anymore. Dude,
you're so right. And the fact is, when something's not giving you joy anymore, you really just should stop doing it. It does in all walks of life. If a car is bothering you, just get rid of it. Get another car. Like if it's causing you more hassle than it's worth. If a friend, is a miserable old fuck, maybe you have to take a break from that person. And you couldn't take a break with Howard and come back and expect there to be any kind of difference. He's only gotten worse as he's gotten older. Like really, he was a crusty old fuck when he was in his 40s. Now he's actually closing on 70, and he's only worse.
I was explaining to my cousin today because he asked me about what's going on in my podcast world, and I was explaining about QF, and he asked, and he's like, "Why you used to love that guy? Why are you doing a podcast about not liking him anymore?" I said, because there's a time in life where things run its course, and there's a community of people who feel the same way and who used to listen and feel like, what was I doing? What happened, and where did it? So I was like, there's a big dynamic when it comes to listenership with people who share that same sentiment about the show. And plus, it's always entertaining to bash the shit out of the fucking the wig wonder. I love fucking on him.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's no enjoyment, we're just not going to do it anymore. But and if you guys don't want to hear us anymore, we'll shut the fuck up and we'll go about our merry way doing a 4-hour podcast about Winona Ryder. But and then ask for Patreon after years of saying we're not going to ask for Patreon money. But let's continue with this one because it only gets worse. It just gets worse, and he doubles down after he's been told he's wrong. And it's one of those situations where someone said, look, you got to apologize. If his agent had told him, he probably still wouldn't do it.
Do you think people were sitting around making fun of Richard because he was in the movie, though?
Not the people. Okay, you're right. I'm wrong. What do I know?
He's deflated.
For it. It's true. Like, no one else is shitting on this except for him and Blobbin, and that's it.
Yeah, and Fred's quiet because, fuck's sake, he desperately wants it. He's probably going, how come that Kansas City hick gets a fucking part in a goddamn blockbuster comic book family-friendly film, and I can't get one audition?
Yeah, and this is what I was going to bring up. As Fred's sitting there going, oh, why not me?
Yep.
I'm over here doing Law and Order freaking spots for and he's just in the screen as long as Richard was, and he's playing a freaking smoke shop owner. Like I don't see why he doesn't bash Fred for that.
Well, I was going to ask you, did that ever come up on the show? I don't believe it did.
I think it was a quick
brief
discussion, if not. Nothing crazy, because somebody like a caller called in and said, "Hey, I just saw Fred on Law and Order," but nothing insane. No, everything that comes up is that Fred always wanted to be a cast member for Saturday Night Live or a writer on the show. That's the only thing that ever comes up.
And could you imagine Fred on SNL these days? Yes, I could, because it is that bad. But and writing, I can't even imagine how bad those sketches would be.
I would have probably seen him during the early 80s SNL. that time when Gilbert was on there. Yeah. When Downey had a half a season stint, like I could have seen him there during that time, because it was dreadful then. But no, not any time. No.
In other words, this guy works in the oil industry, and whatever he's doing, it's important to him. It's his way he makes his living. So all of a sudden, the boss at the oil company goes, Hey, Steve, or whatever that guy's name was. My buddy's coming in for the day to perform your function at the oil company. Like, just belittling your whole job by showing you.
I'm going to give him a line.
We'll
let him say 2 words.
Yeah. Stop it.
It's not belittling. There's nothing belittling about it, especially if he's willing to do it. First of all, second of that's wrong. By my own rationale, Howard exploited people for ages who didn't think they were being exploited or didn't realize it because they were too stupid. But it's still exploitation. In this situation, Richard's all in. If he's enjoying it, there's no if he's enjoying it, then he's not feeling he's exploited. It is not exploitation.
Right. And it's also, if I'm not mistaken, he might have a SAG card. He might have one already. So, and he already has a portfolio. He has a resume for acting. It's already there.
Yep.
It's a line. It's one line, and it's also called being an extra in a movie. That's what people dream of doing when they get into the business. The first thing they dream of doing is being an extra. That's why you start. I was an extra in like 4 or 5 movies before, or PSAs and stuff like that. And just to have that moment, it's like, yay, cool. Like, you're not taking a line from somebody else. That's just the business, and every actor knows that.
Here's the thing. I look through Richard's, his parts here. Okay. Super Twink, of course. Harold and Kumar escape from Guantanamo Bay. I've been looking through here just one by one. Adventures of Serial Buddies. Motor City, Rick and Morty. Okay, so he had a voice in there. Jersey Shore Massacre. Uncle Grandpa, Guardians of the Galaxy, Nerdland, Body Farm. Okay, so these are things that it's just extra stuff. And it might be just him as Richard sometimes, but it's still something you throw on your resume.
Right. And this is him building a resume, or even if it's, like I said, the Forrest Gump thing where you just, happenstance meet up with people and, hey,
network.
And you're networking. How about if it was just that he got the gig because someone was a fan of Charred Walls or The Dam? Like, are you still going to shit on him for that?
Yes. When in doubt.
Yeah, you're right.
Or, no, you want to have some pride in your job. I forget it. I can't explain it. I don't even know that there is an explanation.
There isn't.
Just I believe in Richard. I actually gave Richard a real job. If this guy believes in Richard as an actor, give him Kurt Russell's part. Let him do the Bradley Cooper part.
Exactly. You see, and this is his mentality, because that's how he went into everything. Yes. His mindset was, we hear his conversations about when they wanted him to do SNL, and I wish he would have hosted SNL, because I would have loved to see how bad that would have been. It would have been a massacre. It would have been like watching a train hit a car with a garbage truck and an airplane hitting all at once. It had just been that much of a disaster.
I guarantee, without a shadow of a doubt, he was deathly afraid to host it for a number of reasons. Number one, being found out as being unfunny and completely wooden and a shitty, comedian, like shitty sketch comedian. Number two, the wig. Having to go on and put different pieces of hair and having them find out that he doesn't have his own hair. He didn't want that to happen.
You know what I would wish we could find? His old episodes of Hollywood Squares. I would love to find that. Because there was even a moment where I believe that he was the announcer. He took the Shadow Stevens role for a bit, and Shadow Stevens took John Davison's part.
Yeah.
And I would love to see that footage of how that had gone.
They're not on YouTube?
I tried looking for them. I couldn't find them.
20% of the time or 40% of the time. Never! Martini or a
look where he was. He's in the bottom row in the middle, which is the shittiest fucking square to have. They gave him the square.
Is he at the bottom or is he at the top there?
He's at the bottom.
Okay, hold on.
And from the top of the charts, Glenn Campbell.
That's his voice. Yeah, he's at the very bottom. You're right below center.
Newspapers nationwide, it's Dr. Joyce Brothers. From International Glamour, Princess Zsa Zsa Gabor. And from Police Academy 5, it's Leslie Easterbrook. From the Hogan family, Edie McClure. And me from New York Morning Radio, 92.3 K-Rock, it's Howard Stern.
He had all the fucking confidence of a fucking, like a paper boy.
He had all the confidence of a fucking terminal can.
Look at him.
Through Hollywood Square.
He was, you know what? He was pissed. He was pissed he was on that show.
And then the conversations that he had with Jackie.
Stand up, be a pal. Loan me $100 the next week.
Oh, man.
That's brutal.
Oh,
Hollywood Squares. Is that the same one as Spring 1989? Hold on, let's try. That is the same one. Yeah. Okay. So at least someone thought to upload that. That's brutal. But I don't think he answers a single question. I'll have to let me just go through it.
He was there for a week. He was there for 5 10. I would love to see what because there had to be. There had to be more.
No, man, I'm going right through it, and just even with the commercials. Okay, just going through real quick. Jim J. Bullock. He wasn't even. They didn't even bother asking. Michael Winslow. They asked him. Okay,
it's still on. He would go through it. His light is still on.
That's brutal.
And then he says he tells Jackie when Jackie did it, and Jackie's like, "Well, you did it." He goes, "I went on it as a goof." And Robin's like, "Come on, you didn't know he went on as a goof? Did you hear him right there? He sounded like he was really trying."
Okay, now here they show you pictures of the squares like as just stills, and I don't think they get to his. Oh no, that's just goodbyes.
Yeah,
they probably shot to him, and he was just like his head was buried in the mic,
or under his wig.
And they also because they probably thought no one's going to know who the fuck he is.
Shadow used to get a better square than he did.
Yes. Oh, that's funny.
Oh.
So he doesn't even get. There he is.
Oh. Wow. Yeah. I would love to see
this would have been better with Daniel Carver. I can't believe that I sat through an entire episode of Hollywood Squares just to hear Howard describe some prizes.
Gary the Retard. It'd have been great with Gary the Retard there.
Let's see. Almost no enthusiasm from Howard, but Shadow did an awesome job hosting. Howard wanted out of there bad. Well, why was he on it?
Exactly. And he wasn't promoting anything.
Oh man.
Because he wasn't. They were coming to LA because you heard him mention he's in New York's 92.3 K-Rock.
Yeah. That's funny as fuck. Jesus, you couldn't even. There's 21 minutes of real estate somewhere in there. He barely features in it and doesn't get a picture, doesn't get a shot of him saying goodbye at the end. Because, well, you know, if he didn't speak, that's another reason why you wouldn't have him on there as an outro. But my God,
this Sloucho in the box is just.
He wasn't like Gilbert got asked. Gilbert was, he would do those shows, like the newer version of it and stuff. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Gilbert had the best one when it was the last question of the round before they had to go for the big money or the big car.
Yeah.
And it was, "You fool!" Every time they got it wrong, he just yelling out.
Right, Robin?
That's what we're saying.
That's what we're trying. I mean,
You hire him or don't hire him.
Yeah, don't put him in for like a second. That's like getting an operation. Doctor's going to do an operation. Hey, my buddy's coming in today. He's going to hold the scalpel during your operation. We'll let him make the first incision.
But guys, no joke. We're talking about the Hollywood Squares. We found an 89, like a version from the summer of 89 where he was on this Hollywood Squares. He was bottom square below not Shadow Stevens, Jim J. Bullock at the center square, and they didn't even go to him. And when we were laughing because he did the announcements and he sounded completely unenthused and no one called on him.
And that was his gig. It just like he's talking about how Richard got his gig, someone put you in there as a goof because look at you. Your confidence was just blown.
But he accepted the gig is the real thing. That's the real takeaway. Forget about the embarrassment of being on there. You asked to be on there.
But yet he flowers it by telling Jackie when Jackie did it. "Oh, did you get it? We did it as a goof." No, you took the gig. You wanted to take it. There was no promoting anything there.
If I was Richard, I would have thrown this in his face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, they don't do that because being a doctor is a serious business. Come on.
Dead air. That's the end of that. So hold on. And the next bit, guys, is
me. I thought it was
no.
I thought I left it for you.
No, there's 37 seconds of a wrap-up show caller, which at this point in time is a lot. They would not give any caller that kind of real estate for shitting on Howard in 2017.
All right.
Yeah.
I do like him. He's a good story, but he didn't come. But listen, Gary, you should have booked the guest today. Did you have any clue you're going to get beat up today? And I swear, I believe Howard wants everyone to be miserable like him, where he doesn't want to be part of a movie. He doesn't want to get out. I like the angle that they want to use him for promotion, but not for this movie. I just think Howard's like, he wants everyone not to do anything because he doesn't like to do anything.
Well, that's part of what I was saying. I just think he doesn't like people to he doesn't want to do anything. So why would you want to do it? Listen, one of the great chapters of his book, it goes, "If you're probably not like me, then I don't like you." That's a chapter in his book.
Okay, so that's the extent of that clip. That's the most that I could get from that day. And then what happens on the following day, the 9th, he has heard the feedback, and so here we go.
Hi, Chad. You're on the air.
Hello, my sweet love.
Yes. Hi, sweet love.
Hey, Chad from St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you hate Richard deep down.
What?
Because yesterday, you were such a prick to
You guys
Richard
are such
about
fucking
being
douchebags. I got all these emails about Richard because Richard has like a little 3-second scene in some movie.
Some movie.
That's when you know he's really pissed. Now he's like disregarding it. It's nothing to him now. Some movie. It's a movie that the commercials made more than fucking Private Parts.
The trailer got more hits than Private Parts got viewers. Guys, I did the looking up. You trust us to do this, and we did. The Guardians of the Galaxy first movie trailer. Okay, just on the official Marvel site, not the other ones on the BuzzFeed.com or whatever the fuck. The first Guardians of the Galaxy trailer has, if I'm not mistaken, official trailer number 1, 10 million views. That's the first one. The second one, the teaser trailer that came out, because there's the official trailer, 10 million, the teaser trailer, 22 million views. And Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the latest trailer, it's its new trailer, 222. That's how many minutes, minutes and seconds. The official trailer has 28 million views from 4 months ago, and the new trailer that they came out, this one that I've just mentioned, has 13 million views. Let's check out the Private Parts trailer. Okay, movielist.com. There's Sony. Well, first of all, we forget that by the way, guys, the Reicher Entertainment went out of business not long afterwards. The company that put this piece of shit out. So you can't really get a good number, but there is even like certain scenes from Private Parts. Let's say this one that's been out 8 years, Match Game, Private Parts, 387,000 views. Okay, fine. You know, the interview of him on Larry King that was put up 6 years ago, 96,000 views. Private Parts Kielbasa Scene, 404,000 views 10 years ago, 10 years on YouTube. Okay, we understand the film was long done by then, but the whole point is if he has millions of viewers and millions of hits and people really love this shit, they would go back and watch it for a fucking lark. It would be in the algorithms. It would be suggested. He is so fucking pissed that he's so pissed. He's just absolutely pissed that he's not involved in this.
The other thing I remember is when Private Parts was when it was coming out, they had a website.
Yeah,
and when the website came out, it was boasted that the site crashed initially for the first couple of days, and then it was found that it had 1 million hits in the first couple of days. And this is when Baba Booey did Booey math, and he fucked up the whole numbers, thinking that, hey, boff, that means you're going to make $600 million if it's done right. And they're like, oh, what? And it was like, no, it's not. That's not the proper math.
No.
Well, when you do when we finally got the totals of numbers from ticket sales and what they got, it shows that it was a flop.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, once again, we could, we'll say different genre, different category, style, different type of movie. But like you said, his 28 million followers on Sirius and whatever the case, he would always boast.
Mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy on its first night, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, first night, cleared 60 million.
Yes.
60 million. First night. Thursday night showings.
And this was not like a tentpole like a Hulk movie or Spider-Man or one of these massive characters. This was a collection of, complete unknown characters to the general public.
Right. It's basically a premise of which sold to the audience about a CGI tree and a CGI raccoon that made jokes. Not anyone who unless you were a real comic book fan would know what Guardians of the Galaxy was. And still, first night, and not let me not even say money. I'm not even saying cash wise. First night, I believe it was roughly around 25 to 30 million tickets sold.
Yes,
first Thursday. So he barely did that for the for the movie's extent in theaters. So. Oh yeah, there is a bitterness there. I tell you, he should have attached himself to some kind of superhero movie. He let's think of anything that he could have played.
Look at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Stallone, Michelle Yeoh, Ving Rhames. They all played cameo parts just to be like these Ravager captains from various ships.
Miley Cyrus was one as well.
Was she?
I believe so. I believe she was one of the Ravagers as well.
I'll have to look that up, but either way, it's something that, like, first of all, it's for kids. It's for your kids, especially like for some of these people. Like, I get a chance to be in one of these so they can see me. It's a fun thing because you'll be able to take your kids. But the idea that he shits on Ronnie when he gets the Adam Sandler gig, that we're going to tackle that one eventually. And it's in the same ballpark. I believe it's the year 2018 when that happens. And he completely shits all over Ronnie. And it's just another tie-in into how narcissists have to fucking tear down everything against them, tear down everything around them to make themselves see much better. But also, like I said, rank jealousy. That's it.
Oh,
it can't be, and so it's multi reasons, but it all stems from the same well of insecurity.
Yeah, it's once again, I wish it was me, but fuck you if it's you.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah. And people are like, why are you so mean to Richard? You hate Richard. Why would I fucking hate Richard? I fucking hired the guy, gave him a job, so I'm around him every day.
You're not around him every day. He's sequestered in a fucking cubicle around him. Fuck, more like he's around.
Yeah, he's furniture. He's just there.
Yep.
You guys are such assholes.
No, I don't. I just feel like deep down you are envious of a bunch of things about Richard, especially his ability to
the guy
have
doesn't
fun.
even wash his own balls. I'm not envious at all.
You jealous of why Lick sells nuts?
No, but I love Richard.
Thank you, Howard.
Yeah.
Love you too.
I love all the guys that work here.
I don't know, Howard. It just seems
shut up.
like
You're just a douchebag.
Right.
You're because I'm sitting here trying to be funny and entertain you. Don't be.
But you're failing.
At least he's honest there. He's trying to be funny. He's trying.
He's so fucking analytical about me.
And how about he's trying to give Richard some good advice?
Yeah.
About being in a movie?
Yeah, it's just
about
stupid.
not wasting his time.
Right.
But it's fun. He
it's
enjoys
fun
it.
for you. He's in show business. He's wasting
No,
his
it's
time.
fun for Richard. Richard, did you
Okay,
not
good.
have
I
fun
want Richard to
making
have
that movie?
lots of fun.
I
Okay,
did have
Chad,
fun.
get off my phone, Chad. What a fucking moron. Chad. Who's he? Doesn't know anything about my relationship with Richard.
He's pissed now. He's absolutely fucking livid. He was already pissed enough that that Richard got this and got good praise and whatever and was all happy about it. You got to shit on his happiness. But now that he's being told he's a big piece of shit, this is what you get. So imagine Beth as a, not even, caller. His wife tells him you shouldn't do this or you can't do this. She probably knows you. Well, I'm sure she doesn't, first of all. But when she does, this is the treatment she would get.
Listen, I've lived with individuals who had that same mentality, just misery. And there's always that adage of people saying misery loves company. No, we really don't. We want to get rid of you people. As I said, you want to cut off that toxicity. They have this what is it, Stockholm syndrome on that show, that they just accept his way of being, and they just it's almost like when you get that uncle who you just put him in the corner and you already know, let's leave Uncle Teddy in the corner and let him just watch TV. Yeah, we just leave him there. He'll be all right. Don't worry about it.
It's a good analogy because it really is, that like family reunion, and you got to put up with Uncle so-and-so who's going to probably, get drunk and talk shit and whatever, and then you never have to see him again for the rest of the year. The only reason it makes sense to take that kind of shit is if you have another gig lined up and you're just biding your time. And this being 2017, this particular clip in the spring would make perfect sense if a year later he pulled a Sussy, or Richard pulled a, like a Stuttering John and managed to get his own gig on VH1 or something else, or became like a session guy and like was making money full time as a drummer that can play whatever you want.
Well, nowadays with these guys, which is interesting to ask, is they can't really pull off the phone calls like they used to. I guess they're writers now, if you want to consider that, if that's what it is. But what are you writing for? And I guess you hang around now because it's a check. Because if Sal can do a straight to video movie, or Richard could pick up a pair of drumsticks and do a concert here and there, whatever. I guess you just keep the job because that's what it is, right? I mean, what more? Why are we there?
People ask this all the time. What do they do now? Why are they even on the show? That's how infrequently you hear them. And unless it's a radio call or something like that, but they have other people behind there. And it wouldn't, like I said, I believe it's strictly on a do my bits get on basis. And if they're, whatever, live, they get on the phone. But how much money do I think they're making? I think they're still making shit. They're still making shit money, but in a way it's better for them because they don't have to be around that awfulness. They probably don't even have to be in studio because there is no studio. They can still work from home, and they don't have to be in the abuse network, basically.
It's kind of hard, it's hard to read because, Richard still, if I'm not mistaken, still lives in like the nice
Jersey.
Is it Jersey now? I thought he was in Long Island City.
I have no idea.
But, he has, 2 kids, he has a family, such, then, it's not, especially still being in the metropolis of New York City. It's not cheap. So
no.
that, how that money is being doled out by Wiggy is we know he holds it close to the chest or to the wallet. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to know how they're still carrying along.
Yeah, he holds on to that money like a tree sloth holding onto a branch, man. Like this is, it's just like, and I guess the question a lot of people would be asking is, well, then why have all these other people and still keep Sal and Richard on? I suppose they do serve some function getting on the air once in a while, but also I believe they do just literally technical stuff like audio clips for Fred perhaps, but again, overpaid for the amount of time you hear them.
Yeah, and now that Scott's not there, they have to do that. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they still stay on for that.
I'd say that was tacked on, and just like if you want to keep your job, you'll have to do this as well. I was like, okay, I guess so.
Right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they probably got Cowboy Bob Orton casts on both hands because their wrists are getting carpal tunnel up the ass from mouse clicking, and using left, forcing themselves to be ambidextrous.
The Iron Mike Sharp brace.
God love Iron Mike Sharp. He would have liked him. Howard would have liked him. He actually really did have OCD.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've heard stories. Yeah,
they called him Mr. Clean. That was the best story because he spent hours. He got himself locked into some arenas because he wouldn't stop showering.
That, and when he became a trainer, he would have the wrestlers. That was their routine for the first 2 hours. They had to clean the ring, and then the last 2 hours was to clean the ring again.
Wow, unbelievable.
Richard didn't get paid. Richard stood around.
I did get paid.
Oh, please.
What, minimum?
No, it's a whole agenda with these directors. Like they put my guys in as kind of like a promotional thing, like Benji with Sharknado, and then I talk about it. It's a manipulation.
Yeah, but I'm actually.
You think he got paid as much as those mentioned?
I know you're actually friend with the director.
Friends with James Gunn,
How did that happen?
I met him in Vegas.
Right. How did that happen?
Years ago.
Yes. When you worked for us.
On your own.
And he's a fan of the show.
It wasn't at a fan.
No, I know
show thing.
Richard, stop it. Why do you think they chose you for that role?
Because
so
he knew
I'll
I would
talk
have
about
a blast.
it. Yeah. He's worried about your fun. Guys, fucking making Guardians of the Galaxy. He's thinking, how can I have Richard have fun? Guys are so thick. Jesus Christ.
We're actually.
How many people watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, looked up and said, "Hey, that's Richard"? I mean, it's only the handful of us who know him. Like it's when I first saw it, to be honest with you, didn't even recognize him. Didn't even pay attention to it. Didn't pay attention to it. It wasn't until he brought it up that I went, oh, and I had to look at it like, and I was like, oh, it is Richard. I saw Richard quicker in the Harold and Kumar movie than I did in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, you could be forgiven in the Guardians of the Galaxy because he's so made up, and he screams. When you scream, your voice may not be the same as when it's normal. Obviously, most people it's the same, and it's such a quick. Like if you blink, you missed it. If you went to the bathroom that moment, you missed it. If you were just looking at your popcorn or reaching for your drink or whatever, you could miss it.
And promotion is everything. I get it. This is why we have advertisements for everything. Even movies that you don't need advertisements for it because we already know that it's gonna make 150 million. We know this, but still, no one sat there and said, "Hey, Richard, do you think you could go on the show and promote Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Because we're gonna really need that Howard Stern audience to see it." Fuck no.
Meanwhile, Howard just did a 20-minute plug for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly. It's like the Heineken freaking commercial they did with Robin. Check out that episode.
It's kind of in a way, it's like Artie said, and when they started the Nick and Artie show, he said something like, when I went to this Connecticut School of Broadcasting, he said, I learned the teacher told me, the way to get ahead in radio is to make stupid people mad at you because you're going to get more publicity, you're going to get more attention, and the negative, the bit of negative press you may get possibly is going to be worth it in terms of ratings. If you're doing radio, this is back in the day, right? When ratings were still something. And he said, you just get, so that's why we'll go after the Jersey Shore people. Because apparently he went to a place in New Jersey, a bar, and one of Mike the Situation started yelling at him. It was on film for the Jersey Shore, and Artie, the producers are like, Artie, we're sorry, is this okay if we're filming this? Blah blah blah. I don't know if they got a release or not, but he was filmed in a segment of the Jersey Shore, I guess. And Artie telling a story about these Jersey guys that would want a picture with him. He said, it was so disappointing, Nick. All the guys 40 and up wanted my picture. All the women below 40 had no clue who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds like politics as well.
Well, pretty much. So either way, the whole point is notoriety. That brings you, like, if even a shitty situation like this where he's shitting on the film, it probably would make people in the Stern universe go like, man, maybe I'll go see that. But how many people is that in 2017? Not much.
Yeah, not much.
No, it isn't.
They're friends.
Yeah, I know.
And he puts a lot of his friends in his movies.
Yeah, I know. Okay,
right.
Good. And then on Twitter, what's the name of the director of Guardians of the Galaxy?
James Gunn.
Yeah, he was having an argument with like Paul Feig, and he goes, "Yeah, I'll put in Sal, you put in Richard." It's a goof.
No, I don't think that was him.
What was going on with that, you guys?
Because James Gunn, he said, I heard Richard on the radio 10 years ago, and I needed to put him in the movie. And then the producer of the new It movie said, oh, yeah, James? Well, I'm going to put JD in It sequel.
Yeah, it's a goof on you idiots. You guys are better than that. It's because I believe in you.
If he really heard something, he'd have given you a part.
Right.
It is a part.
It's a goof. Ugh. And he's going to put JD in the new It film. Why do you think he's doing that?
Robin would have been better just shutting her fucking mouth and not co-signing on this, because now she's sharing in some of the responsibility.
Well, you know what? The thing that upsets me about listening to this is that there's actually people who listened to this and believe that what he was saying is true.
Yeah.
It makes me think. I think about another podcast, another show that I listen to, Dan Patrick Show. It's a sports show, and who also was a huge Stern fan, big Stern fan. And the reason why that he had his backroom guys or his producers on the show as part of it was because he got that inspiration from Howard. He's also a guy who has made a relationship with a certain big name celebrity and who has given him a small bit role in every movie he's done. Adam Sandler puts him in every freaking movie that he does now. And he has probably the most screen time that, a minute in a movie. But he's a guy who sits there and goes, hey, you think I could get one of the Danettes on the movie too? And sure, Wiggy on the other hand, just, he's the anti-Patrick. He just is like, oh, fuck this. I'm not, I hate the fact that you're connected to me and that you're getting these opportunities.
How funny is it that Richard got made up to look like a Ravager and in makeup looked better than Wig does normally? We're not going to include it in part of the clip, guys, but if you look it on YouTube, you'll find it. I think literally you find Guardians of the Galaxy down there and you'll find the clip.
Yeah, he looks like he was made up to look like a Ravager, and Wiggy looks like a scavenger. He looks more like a vulture.
Like a fucking blue heron.
It's a goof. You're being goofed on.
I don't mind being goofed on.
Okay, good. Just know what's happening out there. Fucking guys, I got to explain everything to you. Jesus Christ. Same with
even the audience.
This Ben Stern.
No, it's Ben. No, I think that's more Ray though. You really?
Well, the shitting on things. Yes, I mean we did that episode with Bob where he explained that the one part that we believe he's being truthful about was him shitting, saying that Ray would shit on other mothers to him.
I always said that, and especially when I'm listening to the old episodes, that when he does the episode, the impression of Ben, it's never quite on. Ben always seems like some. It's never that close to an imitation. His Ray is exact because that's him.
Yes,
he is his mother. He is the son of his mother. But also when you're hearing him do this, it just exudes the fact that his whole celebrity should have been him, but he knew it couldn't be just him because he needed the cast of characters around him.
I think so. And well, the other thing is, of course, like when he does his Ben impression, it's hyper it's hyper unreal because Ben, when he gets on the air, is sort of lackadaisical. Like that was his nature. Like he didn't always talk like this. It was more like, well, this is the way it was. It was a more faster paced New York style of speaking. And it I hate to say it, so like Mark Morrison, he had to watch his flow. Ben Stern had a good kind of lyrical sound to his voice where he was comfortable always talking. He never had a problem. And being a guy that worked in a recording studio, you would imagine he would be very comfortable speaking in any situation.
He always had proper modulation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't get it.
Benji was Sharknado. He just shot another Sharknado. Benji thinks it's he thinks he's on his way into some big action.
He's got a resume now. He's got several
Sharknado
appearances. It's not doing anything for Ian. What's his name? Ian Ziering. It's certainly not going to do anything for Benji.
And I'll bet you Benji shows up on time for that gig.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And I'm not goofing on JD, putting him on it. I gave JD a real job because I believe in his skills.
Mm-hmm.
Same with you.
You gave JD a job because you wouldn't give him any money, basically. What was that one line in the Serious Problem Reddit thread where he said he was told, look, just up JD's salary to 60,000, whatever. It would really mean the world to him. And he says, I don't care about JD. I believe that. I believe that was an exchange.
Can you imagine, once again, living in New York City and working with a man who's making 250 at the time $1 million as they would pronounce or whatever, and this was speculated, and the trickle down effect is your guy is only making fucking $50,000, if that, to pull video clips. I mean, in any other universe, it be the Colbert Show, be it Jimmy Fallon or anybody who was doing that, they wouldn't be nowhere near making that money. Vinny Favale was known to have made $500,000 a year, and he did nothing at Letterman. Nothing.
The Tonight Show writers, I think when there was a point there where maybe it was a union requirement, but it were union standard. I think it was something union scale for writers on the Tonight Show at the time. I believe were like 200,000. Right. For a network TV show, but they're not on, and it's not even like these writers are on screen, but Richard and Sal were for a long time on the fucking Howard TV thing. They should have been paid extra for being visual content and adding to it. And I'm sure it was part of their contract. No, you're not going to get paid anything extra from Howard TV.
Well, that's going back to wrestling. That's another issue that's happening with talent now, is that they're not looked upon as entertainers, because that's the argument of sports as opposed to entertainment. And that's, Vince came up with the whole sports entertainment thing, not only because it was for the reasoning to not pay a certain amount of money for a venue, but also because now the wrestlers who can be deemed as talent could be part of SAG, and he wants nothing to do with that, because that means they're unionized. It's only a handful of them, and especially now with the purchase through Endeavor that has William Morris with them, that a certain number of them can be tied to that agency, but he won't do it for the rest of them. Wiggy found a way to do the same thing, because I always thought the same as well. It's like, why is it that these guys, they're not getting some type of writers union
compensation? Dues.
It was. I always found that as he would fuck up peculiar aspect of their show's dynamic.
Well, how do you get a non-union show in New York City for all those years at K-Rock?
Yeah, really. Everyone, and all, even from the Z Morning Zoos and stuff, they all have some type of connection or a relationship with a unionized or a compensation.
That's what I used to think.
Yeah, exactly. And to think that like Scott the engineer, he was part of a union, but it was like him and Wood Yee only. He was get those guys and have them do the work. Whereas if you watch a Z Morning Zoo or the workings of one, it's always like 4 or 5 engineers in the back that's putting all that together. This is why his show was always fucking up, where mics weren't working or the audios was bad or they couldn't hear a caller. It's because you only had 1 or 2 guys working on that, when as opposed to where you get like a Breakfast Club where you get 5 or 6 producers in each aspect of the audios covering every base.
Yep.
You're 10 times better than being the goofy guy who gets in Guardian for 5 seconds because it amuses everybody.
But
I believe in you. The fucking audience doesn't get that. They're sitting at home going, why are you jealous of Richard having fun? Fuck fun. Fuck fun. Fun. Everybody wants to have fun. I'll tell you fun. Working with me.
That's a future drop for the intro. I gotta make sure. Remind me to put that one up there. Fuck fun.
That one. I was an eye roll emoji right there.
Oh, big time.
That's fun.
It is.
You're goddamn right it is. I'm not goofing on you. I'm giving you a salary and giving you a life. When you're licking Sal's balls, you're pleasing the world.
And Howard.
And Howard, definitely, and Howard, you definitely am.
More specifically, when you say you're pleasing the world, you mean my world, meaning me.
Is this like the return of the Jackie bashing? Now, I used to get the Jackie things for sometimes because, of course, Jackie was very self-serving. Jackie was very, hey, buy my CD. You know, he was, he had to wear the smiling T-shirt with the Jackie logo on and I get that. It's, what it is. But in this conversation here, it's almost the same thing, except that Richard is he's not self-serving. He's very just in the moment that he's getting these opportunities, and it's not like he's fishing for it. It's like, people say, hey, I got a role for you. I got a spot for you. You take it.
Well, considering how Jackie was, nickel and dimed for a good chunk of his time there, comparatively speaking, I'm not saying he wasn't making good money than comparative to, normal people working regular jobs in New York City, but commensurate to the actual success of the show, they all should have been making way more money than they were. We know this. We've talked about this. However, in retrospect, can you blame Jackie for trying to take whatever he could, and Howard can you blame him considering what we know behind the scenes and what we know of how, the salaries and this, that, and the other thing? When you're desperate, you'll do just about anything to try to get ahead. And part of that will be side gigs and side hustles. I think it's sad personally that Bowie had to do that, or he felt he had to do that. I think it wasn't he felt he had to, he needed to make things, to have a little more spending money. He might have to do these appearances, this, that, and the other thing. But for Howard, like, there's some kind of it's a perverse pride in keeping them down, obviously, but also, like, you can't be left to enjoy anything. Why? What do you mean? You're married, you're happily married. What do you mean you want kids? Yeah, exactly. It's you hear Gary doing the monster trunk shows or Crazy Eddie. It's like, you would think that, wow, why would he need to do that? If he's working on the number 1 rated morning show, and you come to realize it's like he was getting shit pay for the longest time. You didn't put it together until later on. The financials started coming out. It's embarrassing. It would be embarrassing to me as an employer, or at least at the head of the show, knowing that it's out there that people in my staff are fucking on food stamps. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But this is what I don't get. He was so concerned with what the show, his impression of himself, but he didn't mind being thought of as a cheap piece of shit. And he's also acting like if Richard did the Jackie thing where he went on he was in the movie and he had on the Howard Stern fist as part of the costume. Yeah. Or Richard had a Tradio shirt. I love Tradio shirt. And that's another one of those things too, where he had a problem with him, with he and Sal selling the I love Tradio shirts and such like that. It's like, dude, what do you want these guys to do? It's not like they were making big money. If they were making big money, hell, you had a big talent on your show and you knew his habits and his dysfunction. Artie,
And he had to take these gigs because the money that you guys were paying him was shit.
Yeah, and he also, the fact was he knew that money was out there. I mean, let's be honest. You find out you can make $50,000 in one night doing 45 minutes of stand-up.
Yeah.
You're not going to take it?
Yeah, definitely.
And you're not going to take it every single time you can, thinking you can keep it together for, the rest of the year. If Artie was in even better shape, like let's say he was in fantastic shape throughout that time there, he would have done more gigs.
He would have left. I honestly believe that in a better environment, in a better condition, I think he would have left the show on his own and did something on his own. If it
eventually, I think so too. Yeah.
The monkey on his back. Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe because of James Gunn or whatever his name is.
James Gunn. James Gunn ain't who's that the director? He ain't employing you. He's gonna give you, if he wants to employ you, make you a fucking a puppet like he did with Bradley Cooper.
Why can't you be the raccoon?
Yeah, why are you not the voice of raccoon? Hi, I'm a raccoon. I'm a talking raccoon.
It's funny. Meanwhile, Howard bragged after Private Parts that Betty Thomas wanted to put him in with Eddie Murphy in an Eddie Murphy movie. And then when he found out he was going to be in as a voice for the squirrel, he said no.
Yeah, for Dr. Doolittle.
Yes.
And he missed out on that. Yeah, moron. He couldn't even be Howard the Duck.
Would have been great.
That would have been great for him.
Well, I mean, and that was the thing. Yeah, that was one of the in the closing that was the clue in. Was it in Guardians 2 at the end? Howard the Duck was featured there.
Yeah, he was part of the imprisoned creatures and on that planet. Yeah.
Oh man, what I wouldn't do for a Howard the Duck movie.
Right. No. Yeah. Not the George Lucas one. No, not that.
No. Not Leah Thompson. No, I'm thinking with all the humor intact, it could be fucking hysterical.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't like talking raccoons. That's not real.
Well, I am busy here, so I could only take.
You ain't getting a 401k from that fucking guy. You're getting a 401k from this cocksucker, me.
I know.
401k. Remember 401k? That tells you who your friends are.
Oh, yeah, my friend is the boss that's shitting on me for taking another gig. I know I'll never do this again, and make sure he doesn't find out about it if I do.
No, I know fuckers who get a 401k at fast food doesn't mean that they're praised for flipping burgers. Come on. Stop it, Howard. Stop.
Exactly.
That's right. You know who my friend is?
You're going to have to put a kid through college.
That's right. You know who my best friend is? A guy named Jim Meyer. That's right. That's my best friend in the whole world. You know why?
He
employs me.
On you.
He gives me a 401k.
So we've gone from not only is he only friends with people he pays, but he's also friends with people that pay him.
Don't you? I love when we always go back to when they ask him who are his close friends, and he says, "My therapist."
My therapist.
That was the first one right off the gate. Wasn't his wife? Wasn't his children? It wasn't Ralph even. My therapist. Oh.
Dude, it's not even like the similarities between him and Carson go so deep. That's another thing Carson said in an interview one time. His lawyer was his best friend.
That's sad.
And Bushkin had no idea. Didn't have any sense that he was even thought of as a friend. He's literally like, this is my job. I got a high profile client, and it shocked me because we weren't even that close.
Hell, it wasn't even Bianca. It was my therapist.
Oh. That's right. So would Howard dive in the pool for his therapist? Would he remove his boots?
None of it's necessary. None of it's going to mess up his boots.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Jim Meyer's the greatest fucking guy on this planet. Don't kid yourself. Not James Gunn or whatever the fucking director is.
I got to rescue that fucking doctor. I still put a deposit down for the year. Retainer.
He's my friend.
He's my best friend. Yeah, right. He put me in Guardians of the Galaxy for 3 seconds as a goof, and then he can like have a funny conversation with the director of it. And when all the privileged directors get together, they goof around on JD and you and Benji and Sharknado, a piece of shit movie. Benji's better than that. And Benji's on time for Sharknado, but not for here. You guys got it all backwards. Now get out of here.
They're like that Mets pitcher.
Right.
They don't get it.
And the audience doesn't get it.
I'm on time here.
No, I know.
I work my ass off here.
Come on.
Nobody's saying
I can't have a little.
See, right there. He had a little bit of pushback. Someone saying Richard goes, come on. He goes, well, see, I'm always here. What the fuck are you talking about? A little bit of pushback, and he just folds.
You know, I never understand why there's the only one, and he annoys the hell out of me in many instances. But the only one who I would hear that never really gave him that really always gave him the shit was Ronnie. And the only thing with Ronnie is like Wiggy would say, he argues like a mongoloid like that. But he already knew going in that he wasn't gonna take his shit either. Like he wasn't gonna go. He and Doug Goodstein were the only two that really went at it.
Bowie on occasion, but mostly he got his big balls when he was on the wrap-up show and could talk freely. But so that one was kind of more disturbing because what he realized it, or maybe he didn't. Howard will hear the replay, so you're not getting away with anything. All you're doing is you're buying time for, until the next morning when he decides he's going to shit all over you. But at the end of the day, you have to suss out that, like Ronnie, he's older, he's been there. That's the thing. Ronnie knows exactly how far he can go. You
after a while, you don't want to kiss the ring anymore. You want to stop kissing that ring.
Oh yeah.
It starts tasting like shit after a while.
Especially when it's been up Ralph's ass. Fuck.
Fun on the side.
No, of course you can have fun, but just know what's going on here.
I know, and
all right.
Even if it is a goof, I love it. I loved being.
Okay, I'm a fan of the movie. Good. Don't call your dad.
I love James. He's awesome.
Good. Right. Thank you.
I love him.
Ralph held this uncomfortable ring up his ass for 5 years. and now it's you, little man. It's yours.
If that ring is like the fucking Green Lantern ring, and it makes everything gay.
The rainbow beam.
Now, this is a question I was going to ask earlier. If this happened with Ralph, would he be getting the same tongue lashing? Well, poor choice of words. But would he getting the same kind of ridicule as Richard was getting?
Yeah, between rim shots. I think if it was Ralph, I think yeah, but not the same type, but similar, but not exactly the same, because he knows Ralph is. The thing is, he knows Ralph knows shit. With Richard, it's literally just naked rage, naked jealousy. With Ralph, it's more like, I know he's my bitch, so I can do whatever I want and he'll have to come back to me. But even with Ralph, there's only so far that he goes for whatever reason. And I think partially because in his head, it is one of those things where, you know what? Maybe one day I will go too far and Ralph will drop a fucking package off at the New York Post.
But also, because I remember when Ralph would do, there was a time when Ralph did the VMAs and he was in the crowd and he got thrown out for stage diving and all this nonsense. But Wiggy,
not muff diving.
No, he'll stay away from that.
Okay.
But he didn't give him shit, because wouldn't that be a poor representation of the show of him being thrown out of the VMAs? Or it's just because, hey, Howard is wild and crazy that's plausible that he would get thrown out?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends who it is, but Ralph, because also Ralph probably gets way more than Richard. I'm not saying it's a shitload, but I'm sure it's 6 figures.
Oh, okay.
Like double what Richard gets, and he has some Polaroids. So I think that colors the argument a little differently. Okay. Instead, where Ralph has Howard has the Howard TV Polaroids of Richard, getting his taint waxed and all that shit. So, and it's on the the playlist at Castle Gay Skull.
Go have a baby and get in movies. You understand, the directors? It's their amusement. Remember when in that movie when De Niro is talking to not De Niro, the other guy, Pesci. He goes, "Do I amuse you? Do I amuse you?"
Amuse you.
I moves you. I tell you, once he got them that new line of teeth, woo boy, he was butchering the English language, like if he was like cutting the fat off a steak. I'm telling you.
You saw that picture I posted, that screen cap from one of the Howard TV videos with those fucking chompers wide open.
Yeah, let me tell you, he talked about Sal when Sal got his. Jesus, those aren't even veneers. They're
veneers. Their saber-toothed tigers don't have such a set.
Exactly. It's like the
holy fuck.
Like the saber-tooth at freaking Ice Age.
No kidding.
I mean, I'm funny. Funny how? Do I amuse you? That's what these guys are doing.
But I don't. That doesn't bother me if that's what they're doing.
Then that's who you are.
Then you won't shoot somebody in the foot.
That's right. That's it. Yeah, the two directors are like, they get together as a goof. Yeah, I took the fat hillbilly and gave him a 2-second role. Yeah. I'm going to take that big mumbler from the show and put him in the
fat redneck, fat hillbilly. Sorry, that was the quote. Yeah. Every aspect of it, like that's abuse. That's just flat out abuse.
When I do my listening of the shows, even the old shows, but it got more heavier, pun intended, during the later years of the show, where everything became about the physical look. Oh wow, as soon as somebody walks in the studio, like, wow, you've gotten fatter. Oh wow, you how much are you weighing now? It's just it's that whole like obsession with appearance with him. It's
tunnel vision, man. It's disturbing, especially at an age where you should be not concerned with it. And I'm not talking about how actresses have to deal with it, because it is not fair. It's not a fair comparison. They're judged on their looks and they're given parts based on their looks. That's a different situation. A media guy on the radio or even a sportscaster, they don't give a fuck. Only that they look clean and presentable.
Right.
Not that they got to look younger because they're going to lose a gig, because in certain sports, it doesn't matter. Age is no detriment.
That and the just the thought that this is so important to you that these two directors are having conversations about JD and Richard on Twitter. Wouldn't you think that helps to boost your show, as opposed to the celebrities you hang out with who's actually talking the real shit when you leave their fucking summer home or their parties? Like, get a load of what the fucking Howard did when he was here. Jesus Christ. Wow.
You know those the Sony WikiLeaks that came out? I wish to God, as part of it, there was like MP3s or video footage that came out of people meeting, like even if it was just coffee shop talk. Like, what about Howard? You check out that fucking rug he's wearing. Oh my God, who does he think he's fooling? Latte, please.
Jesus Christ! Did you see Beth with the line of Coke she had underneath her nose? Jesus Christ! Allegedly, people. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah, right. She hates sugary things.
I'll raise you a mumbler to the fat hillbilly. The gay hillbilly. Yeah, you know the gay hillbilly who's always licking Sal's balls? I put him in for that. Now you got to put one of them in. Yeah, I'm going to.
One time he licked his balls. He's a ball licker.
Oh, listen. All you gotta do is get one in the ass, and you're called gay forever.
I guess so.
Put in that mumbling guy who you can't understand. That's even funnier. I don't know. I think the gay hillbilly's better. I know what's going on. Robin knows.
I don't mind people laughing at me.
All right. I know you don't. All right. Thank you. Can you leave? Can I get you to leave?
Am I doing that thing again?
Yeah. You're overstaying. That's right.
I was waiting for Artie. Goodbye, Richard.
See ya. Take care, man.
Take care, Richard. No, and that's the thing that really annoys Wiggy, is that Richard won't give him material, won't give him content.
Yep.
Bowie would give it to him. DePace would give it to him. Ronnie would give it to him. Ronnie would have gone on another 20 minutes. What's up with you, dude? Come on, man. Scott. and Scott the engineer would have given to. Richard is like, okay.
Well, listen to how empty it is when it's just him raging into the nothingness. It's no different than that Kumia video that I think that Sam and Bob are going to cover eventually if they're not doing the one I'm thinking of. Without a guest, without somebody to play off of, without someone to add something to the discussion, and you have a 79 giving you these rants, it really is just aimless, pointless, rage bashing. And utterly fruitless. Like, it really doesn't matter because, number one, he's already done it. He's in the film. It's in perpetuity. And you can't, with apologies to Tony Bennett, you can't take that away from him.
Which, by the way, you can't say it's fruitless because the person who's saying fruit. So
very, very smooth. that was fucking Rakim smooth, man. That was amazing.
Cheers.
Thank you for the nice words about my dad.
Your dad's the best, and so are you. You know I love you.
I know. Thank you, Howard.
Maybe he was a good son. Did you ever think that it might have been you?
Maybe. People don't like me. But you know what I mean? Like, these directors, they're like, they take my guys and they put them in these movies for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's not real.
They take my guys. Me, I.
Yep. Got it. It's all mine. Don't you understand?
It sounds a little bit like the John Gotti tapes when he's upstairs above the Ravenite and he's going, where's my piece of these fucking construction companies?
Donnie the pig, the guy, but nobody's giving it a piece of money on anything.
Oh, God.
I took it as Daffy Duck when he's doing Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. It's like, it's all mine. The rubies, jewels, everything.
Howard Chup.
The references, people get the references.
Oh, man.
Seeing something in them.
You know, like Baba Booey, too, you know? He gets all excited. Yeah, I'm going to put that ape with the big teeth in. You know, even like Ronnie, he's a movie star now too. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna and they put him in at the end of the movie during the credits.
FBI, everybody down on the floor!
Yeah.
Get down!
Yeah. It's like, really? I actually.
Okay, there's a difference because Ronnie is. Wait. Ronnie, like I said, he's not Robert Redford. Okay, let's call it. We're not doing all the President's Men here. We're not doing that.
Nope.
But when he was on Cougar Town, he loved it. Why? Because it was great to have Ronnie on there because he was friends with the director and one of the actresses and Courtney Cox. He was so friendly with them. It was great because you could promote the show. He's not getting anything out of it with the Gunn movie on Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not promoting. He makes it look like it's promoting the show, but it's not. Like I said, he's not wearing the Fist logo anywhere.
It's not
none of that.
No, it's not blatant. He brought it up. Like, Howard brought it up, not him. I was thinking to myself, though, maybe Howard's upset that they don't do a remake of Dog Day Afternoon and he doesn't play the Chris Sarandon role at the end of the film. He's got the hair for it. Oh, shit.
Believe in you guys and pay you. But, all right. And Benji did Sharknado. I don't even know how that went. Maybe I'll ask him when I get back.
He's already finished his
he did his
shooting
scene
for this next
one? Yeah, it was right on time. And like Gary's in the new Adam Sandler movie, and he pops up for like 5 seconds. And Gary's all proud of himself. And I'm like, Gary. No, whatever. I don't even want to. Don't get me started. Doesn't matter to me anyway. I don't stop the guys from doing this shit. I'm happy for them if it makes them happy. But, just know what's going on here.
I'm happy for them. It sounds like it.
Yeah, take a phone call and all.
When does deter you from doing anything? Is like, hey, you got the opportunity to be in like The Punisher, the new remake, and he's like, well, I don't know, because Howard might not like that. I'm gonna be assassin number 3 that gets killed by the Punisher.
If life were fair, they would all get some Hollywood big shot to do exactly for them what Jay Leno did for Stuttering John. Take him away, make them more money, make them more popular, and leave Howard with nothing. Like at the end of Pool Hall Junkies when Walken says to Chaz Palminteri, I'm going to leave you with nothing. It's exactly what he deserves for all these people. Wilding, everybody that's still on the show right now to just depart, leave, get a better gig somewhere, and rub it in his fucking face. Not even like a fucking farewell note. Look, I would put in my notice, but no, you didn't do that. Your early fucking radio gigs, and neither did Robin. So see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
And this is why he can't have a podcast. This is why he won't be able to do one, because
no chance.
He won't have those cast of characters around him, and his interviewing is fucking trash. Unless you want to put it like on fucking the therapy network or something. Do you have father hunger? Or he's not going to have that ability to talk freely on his own, because no one cares about his daily moments and such, his ins and outs. No one cares. If he was only able to have the ability to connect with people, even an inkling, he might be able to have something. But this day and age, it's gone. It's far gone.
Man, no curiosity, no interest in anything. Geopolitical, social studies, fucking arts, religion, sports, nothing. I mean, Christ's sake, there's all kinds of like, now we're going, so baseball season is, whatever, the playoffs, the NBA playoffs are started. I think last night they started the first round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's something you could be talking about. Nope, he's not going to talk about it. He's going to talk about the 600-pound fucking sisters polishing off a double pepperoni.
And that's the thing that really I thought would have lost his audience years ago, because when I listened to the old episodes, it's him talking about Beverly Hills 90210 or him talking about Gilmore Girls, and the hardcore audience, which was the guys in that demo, would have sat there and be like, the fuck is this fruit watching? Like, what is this? And then when I love when Audie would bring it up, when he would bring it up, and Audie would be like, I am so happy I don't know who these people are.
There was one line I'll never forget when Lisa G came in with that sweater, I think, and Artie puts on the sweater.
Yeah.
And I think I can't remember what it was, but the term was, I think, it's a throw or something.
Yeah.
And some type of light outerwear that I guess women wear, and or shrug. That was it. It was a shrug. So Howard goes, "What's a shrug?" And Artie goes, "God, I'm so happy you didn't know what a shrug was." He retained his man card only just. Anyway, guys, we hope you've enjoyed that episode. I know it's a tough slog. Some of these are really for exposition, and some of them are really for laughs. Some of them are both. And it's just one more thing for those of you who have not heard it. We're happy to put this one down to rest, and hopefully we'll be able to put this fucking cocksucker down to rest. Lay him out as well, and give him a nice Paul Roma triple backbreaker on the way into the fucking dirt nap.
Listen, it's still astounding now. While everyone's getting cancel cultured and some are even cancel culturing themselves, this guy still has found a way to trudge through all that. He's still found a way to make it through. It boggles the mind.
Well, one thing I'm thinking is, like, if it happened to Ellen, like one of these threads that just everybody tell us your awful Ellen stories on Twitter, why not do the same for him and see what kind of traction it takes? And the answer is nothing. No one will care.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'd love to be able to make it a thing by just saying, like, hey, guys, tell us your shitty Howard Stern stories. Ex-workers, ex-interns, tell us. And I'm sure a lot of it would be nonsense, people claiming to have worked for him or with him or that and the other thing, the other thing. And then you're just going to get a bunch of sycophants going, he's the best, man. Fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about. That he has even one of those left over is still astounding to me in this day and age.
Yeah, but we'll keep going through the muck and trying to bring diamonds out of it for you guys if we can.
Yep, we'll peel the onion continually. We'll cry all the way down to the center of it, guys. Have a good one. Thank you so much, brother.
Goodbye, my sweet loves, and thank you guys for having me on. And once again, support QF, guys.
And Turnbuckle Tabloid, what you got in store for, well, they don't say for this week, but for future weeks' purpose when this finally gets out.
Oh, man, this past week or so, I was rubbing elbows with some upcoming guys. One in particular is the family member of the tribal chief himself, the head of the table. So in discussions of getting him on the show, we'll talk about that. And also the purchase of Endeavor with Endeavor and WWE. How does this impact the future of the wrestlers as well as the company as a whole? So we'll talk about that and much more, guys.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, brother. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. We love you.
Love you guys. Laters.
Not sweet loves?
I said it earlier because
okay. Tag it one more time. One time. Well, give me a refrain.
All right. Ready?
You got it.
Goodbye, my sweet loves.
Perfect. Thank you.
Shit, I'm nervous. Please don't hang up on me. She gets a fat condition for the next 2 years. What do you do?
I leave her. Yeah, I'm out.
No, this is what I was saying. No, don't hang up on my ass. Say she does the marathon, she go to the doctor, and he say you got to get fat for 2 years. He say you got that's some kind of condition where she got to get fat. What does you do?
Yeah.
What does you do?
What does you do?